Amazing Fantasy 15, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man himself.
This one here would be worth about $15,000. On these here, they're the picture covers. They're all from England. These are all Parlophone and are harder to get here. But these will sell in between $5 and $20 each.
1945, this is the first. I've been a collector for 50 years. This is the first one I've actually held in my hands. That's how scarce this is. Somewhere between $500 and $1,000.
This is a John A. MacDonald signed letter. You know, I don't know how many have survived. He's probably about a $5,000 to $8,000 value for a letter.
I have no idea. I think this is ivory. Okay, I'm gonna give you $500,000 because you stumped the panel.
From the Zoomerplex in historic Liberty Village, the Zoomer with Libby Znaimer.
Welcome to the Zoomer. I'm Libby Znaimer. We've all done it, stumbled upon that old piece of jewelry, old book or toy. It may have been passed down from a loved one or something you picked up years ago at a garage sale. Still, have you ever wondered just how much that item may be worth? Paul Kenny of ZoomerRadio's Consignment Heroes is here to look at an array of items brought in by members of our audience, as well as to provide a little bit of a history as to what makes some of them so unique. But before we dive in, let's tee up the topic.
Whether you're selling furniture, buying art, or trading vintage vinyl for vintage jewelry, anytime you buy, sell, or swap a used item, you contribute to the second-hand economy. Last year, 4 out of 5 Canadians participated in the resale market, fueling a $27.3 billion industry. That's equal to 1.23% of Canada's GDP. And if you needed a reason to choose secondhand, Canadians earn an average of $961 per year through selling, and save an average of $723 per year through buying. Not to mention, extending the life of products is a boon for the planet.
So at what point do people start to want to part with these things?
As soon as their wife tells them to. At one time I had one wife who was bringing in stuff, her husband's stuff, and I had the husband bringing in the wife's stuff. And they didn't tell each other. It comes up like, it was kind of weird. That. But no, we get along, we've enjoyed them for long enough. We want to get the money. A lot of it is when they want to move. They're downsizing. The kids that say, we don't want this stuff. And like the kids don't, I've got 3 kids and 200 sets of china. They went to a big box store and bought them. They don't want any of my stuff. Plus, a lot of the stuff doesn't fit into condos. But a lot of the people just say, we're downsizing, and this stuff is from our McMansion is not going to fit into a condo. But it goes, the first thing is the wife saying, you got to get rid of this stuff.
Okay, well, first we're going to look at jewelry, and that doesn't take up too much space, but I guess people get to a point where they're not going to wear it.
We get in people bringing costume jewelry a lot of times. And even for charities, or even they bring it in themselves, they're about to give it to a charity. 1 out of every 3 collections of costume jewelry that comes into our shop has gold and silver in it, and they don't know. Last week we did something for a kennel, a dog charity. They thought it was nothing. It was $500 in gold and about $50 in costume jewelry. We have one lady who brought it in. She was about to give it all in to a church sale, end up being over $1,500 in gold in this. But 1 out of every 3 happens like this. Now in this, the costume is a little bit better. It's in good condition. But this costume jewelry that's here, this is sterling. These are this here is your sterling souvenir chain, melt. That's all we're going to do with it. But the costume jewelry, what we're mainly looking for is stuff that has signatures on it, like names. George Jensen jewelry, Tiffany. And you have to make sure the names are authentic. We have a piece here, we believe we saw it. I don't know if the camera can zoom in on this. That piece there has got Tiffany on the inside. Someone knew how to spell Tiffany, but that hasn't been, the only way that'd be near Tiffany if it was near another piece of it was Tiffany. That's not Tiffany.
Okay, what about these pieces here?
They're nice costume jewelries. They scream 1970s. They would probably sell for, are these clip-ons? No. That lot there would sell for around $75.
Really? And is this gold?
No, nothing over here is gold.
Okay.
The gold is over here. These are all gold over here.
Okay. Yeah.
This is gold. This is silver. I don't care about silver. It's not. Silver mainly is, when people bring in silver, their silver jewelry is mainly if it's going to be still silver, that we can still sell it that way, because this only weighs 7-8 grams. This is only going to be worth $8 in silver. But we would maybe try and sell it as a piece of silver, sterling silver jewelry, and we can get $25, maybe. We let it go in our store for a week or two, and then we just put it all together and we put it in the next melt. Just how it is. But if people have flatware that's sterling, now we're paying right now around 58 cents a gram for sterling, because right now sterling is at $23.15 per ounce. If someone has a tea set, it'll weigh 3,000 grams.
And they're being melted down.
Yes, because the kids don't want it. You don't want to clean it. You don't even know what it's worth. And it says, if I tell you it's $1,000, says, give me the $1,000, I'll go to a concert or a baseball game. So no, this is what's happening. And you hand it down to your kids. And sometimes the kids, they go to the wrong places, because some people are paying 30 cents a gram. They see a young person come in with an old set of sterling. Some of these places will pay you 30 cents a gram. You should be getting 58 cents a gram.
Okay.
Doesn't seem like a lot, and if you have 3,000 grams, that's a lot.
Let's move on to the albums.
Oh, this is a money album here? Actually, this is someone brought in, this is money, but this is what we call traveler's change. Who owns this money? Come on up here for a minute. Okay, I'm gonna pour your money out. If it was collector money, I'd be treating it a little bit more gentle, but I'm not gonna do it in this case. Most of this is pennies and stuff like this. And what's happened is that a lot of the European money, people bring their change home. You go on a trip, the change is in the suitcase, you got it there, okay? Now, what's happening? That's probably where you got this?
I got it from my dad, who did a lot of traveling.
Yes, and he only gave you the pennies. All the real money he kept. Okay.
I took it with him.
He took it with him, okay. This one here, this is the reason all this money's not worth anything. This is a euro.
Okay.
So in France, which used to have francs, they don't have francs anymore. Nope. And if you have a franc bill that from 1925, it might have some collector value, but you cannot bring it to the bank. They will not give you money for it, okay? But they'll give you money for this euro. All of the change from France and Czechoslovakia or Germany, all of this money is now traveler's change. We might as well melt it down.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you're going to melt that down. Wow.
Well, no, because it's not Canadian. We can't melt the Canadian stuff. Yeah, this is copper, and this is each piece of here is about 3 cents worth of copper. So you're approaching $1.
Great.
No, we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
You've hung on to that for a while for
Well,
$1.
yeah, some of them are 19.
But you had a
early-
€2 coin in here.
Right.
And that's worth about $3.
Okay.
Don't give that away.
I won't.
No,
What's
I
that?
have no idea what this is.
I found it in the pile.
If it was gold, it's too light to be gold.
Right.
And it's too ugly to be anything else. We're just going to consider that it's with the rest of this stuff.
Okay.
A great thing to do with stuff like that is to donate it to schools or scout troops, because they learn about countries
Okay,
and everything.
yeah.
And they really appreciate having something like that.
We sell it by the pound. We sell it for like $5 a pound,
Okay.
which is an actual pound, not like an English pound.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Next time.
Next time.
Next time. Okay. When we come back, more with the consignment hero, Paul Kenny. Stay tuned.
What we have here is a book that was carried by a Private William Miller of the Royal Regiment of Canada. Actually carried it in combat, apparently, at the raid on Dieppe in 1942.
Welcome back. Now, things don't have to necessarily be old in order to be collectible. We now have the pop culture phenomenon of Game of Thrones, and you're looking at it already.
You're not old. The book's not old. Where'd you get this?
I got it offline back before the show came out. One of my friends at school recommended reading the book to me, and I wanted to search it down back before the show had exploded, and read the book, loved it, and it's one of my favorite books. But then obviously the show took off and changed the value of something like this.
Yes, yes. On The Game of Thrones, this is a case of where the popularity, this book you would have bought back then for maybe $50, $100, if that, even as a first edition. This happens to be a first edition. The clip's going to hurt a little bit here. It's not signed, but he's still alive to get signed. I think you can get between $300 to $500 US right now online for this book. See? This is a nice piece, but this is a lot more interesting. Okay, tell me the story about this.
So that's a record I picked up digging through record crates at a thrift store. And it's actually from a record label that used to exist in Toronto, downtown Toronto, Allied Records. And it's from 1968, a band that nobody liked at the time called the Folklords. And you can see on it, it has a sticker that says special 1-cent sale. And so Sam the Record Man, the original one on Yonge Street here in Toronto, they would, when records weren't selling, they would pair them with other popular records. You can see it says buy one for $1.99 and get this for 1 penny. So somebody back in 1968 did that. They picked this up for a penny, and they were so uninterested in it, they never played it. So it's in mint condition.
It's mint?
Yeah.
Okay, now that'll help it for sure. I happen to be looking at this. As investments, 1 cent to 800 US, which is about 1,100 Canadian, on this. Now this is on, you could have this at home, folks. And you mightn't have played it either, I wouldn't. Okay. On, no, but there are other records like this. This is a case of where there's not many made, but a lot more people want it than are willing to sell it. And I think at 800, it would probably sell right away on this.
And the internet has exploded. People's ability to find these records, subgenres like psychedelic folk music, I think have exploded. And what makes this record unique is it has the zither on it, which
Okay.
is the only psychedelic folk record.
Is that why people want it? I was going to say, why do people
No,
want
people
it?
are collecting vinyl. There's a big resurgence in vinyl right now.
Yeah.
And some stuff is not on CDs. Some stuff has not been remade. And people want the originals. And it's a case of it hasn't been played.
Also, it's a rare label.
It's a rare label, and it's Canadian. We don't appreciate in Canada how much stuff was made for our market here that is not made for the rest of the world. We're going to talk about this other one here. This is the Beatles. Give me a little story on this.
The story on this that makes this copy of the record interesting is it was in the first batch of the White Album that came to North America. There was a record store in New Jersey that had a good relationship with Apple Records, the Beatles record label, and he had pestered them to ship them copies of the record. They got 5 boxes. They were there months before the record came to the rest of the record stores in North America. They had people coming from all across the country lining up since the night before to get this record. The lineups around the block.
This is before your time. A
little bit before my time.
Okay. Now, if you were going to sell this today, what would you sell this for?
That would be probably around $350 US.
This is an album they made millions of. But this is the right part of the millions. This is early, it's serial numbered, and very, very collectible. There are many Beatle collectors out there.
And the interesting thing the Beatles did with this album is they gave each individual record a number. So every single record, you know exactly what number it was when it came out. And that's how I was able to trace the story that this was one of the first UK pressings. They call it the Holy Grail of the White Album. And that also makes it a mono pressing, which a lot of the ones that were released here later, they'd switched to stereo because they were going between mono and stereo at the time.
Yep.
So a lot of collectors want the mono original UK pressing.
Thank you.
Great.
That's cool.
Thank you very much.
And of course, there are still books that do have historical value that can have monetary value too. Let's move to that one.
Who has this book here? This beautiful book, this piece of history. Piece of history guy, come on up. This is Adam, who works in our store. We hired him on as a military expert for people who have collections because we need that extra knowledge. I don't have it. He does.
What we have here is a book that was carried by a Private William Miller of the Royal Regiment of Canada. Actually carried it in combat, apparently, at the raid on Dieppe in 1942.
Wow.
Unfortunately, of course, like most of the Canadians who took part in the raid, he was captured. And while incarcerated in Germany, a fellow prisoner did pencil sketches from memory of the Canadians on the beach on the day of the raid at Dieppe. Here we have Canadian landing craft, Canadian tanks that have been stopped by the Germans. Unfortunately, the casualties from Dieppe were extremely high, and we unfortunately don't know who the actual artist is. It was a friend of the private, and
Okay.
we won't know who actually did them, but
I know you're not going to sell this, are you? You're not selling it, but
That was my dad.
that was your dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we also have a banner that was used to welcome the prisoners home.
My grandmother,
Wow.
she didn't make the
okay.
banner, but she hung it for them when they came home.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's special.
1945, this is the first, I've been a collector for 50 years. This is the first one I've actually held in my hands. That's how scarce this is.
And again, at auction,
If that came in for sale, I would estimate this lot at somewhere between $500 and $1,000. The historical value alone is just absolutely amazing. Like I say, I've been a collector myself for half a century. Never seen anything quite like this.
I would say that's priceless.
What this represents, this is one of the men who gave their all for us today so that we could live in freedom here.
yeah.
And one of the reasons why we live in such a great country.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So let's move on to political memorabilia.
Right. So there's a lot of people that collect political autographs and letters and other things related to heads of state. It goes back to the early days of royalty in England. You'll see stuff from 1300s. But probably the most collectible, like most things, is U.S. Stuff from the United States of America. So what we have here is a John Kennedy signed letter and a Bobby Kennedy signed photo, which have both been authenticated, which you have to do, particularly with John Kennedy, because I know Paul and I, we've probably had 50, of which maybe 1 or 2 are real, because John Kennedy, they're all from the White House, they're real letters, but John Kennedy was seldom in office. He was out doing other things. So almost all of his autographs were either auto pen or secretarial. He rarely, there's even treaties that weren't signed by him. They used an auto pen.
How did you authenticate it?
Well, we got a third party because people wouldn't believe me. So you have to get the best people in the world to do it. I used PSA for this. So other things. Now here's one where you'll get less fakes. This is a John A. MacDonald signed letter.
Wow.
And there's a number of them around. This is from Earnscliffe in Ottawa, so he was in Parliament at that time. But he had a law firm in Kingston before that, and of course lawyers sign a lot of documents. So there is a number of his autographs around. He's got a really nice autograph that you can see on this letter, and they can all be authenticated. That one's been authenticated, even though I knew it was real between the content, the type of paper, and everything else. But you know, I don't know how many have survived. He's probably about a $5,000 to $8,000 value for a letter. Just a cut signature would be less.
Okay, thanks. When we come back, sports and music memorabilia. That's next.
I've been to so many concerts, and I always bought shirts and never wore them, and I take them home, and I'm always thinking, why am I so stupid? I'm paying $25 a shirt. And about 5-10 years ago, I decided in our business, we started putting them online. These shirts go for $200, $300, $400, sometimes $500. It's one of my better investments.
Have you been hanging on to autographs you got at concerts you attended as a teenager? Or what about some posters? Look at this stuff. It really takes me back. And you know, once again, it's not that old, Glenn.
No, we're really, these posters in particular are the early 80s. And,
I remember.
I remember them well because I actually worked at these shows. I was part of the group promoting and producing these shows. Heat Wave was quite a legendary show at the time. It was at Mossport because that was the start of new wave music, and we were the first group to bring the new wave acts up, which was B-52s, The Clash, Elvis Costello's, Pretenders. And it was a huge, massive success. We had about 85,000 people. And this poster in particular is rare because it was given to our ticket dealers. Like there is a poster that doesn't have Heatwave tickets here at the bottom.
Oh.
And the lady that owns it, you said your uncle owned a record store, right?
Yeah, these are all from my uncle's collection. He was a huge collector, seller. He had his own record store, Records on Wheels.
Right.
So yeah,
Which is a very famous store. I didn't know it was Records on Wheels,
Yes.
but everyone knew that. And back in the day, there was no electronic internet tickets. You had to go to a record store or
Somewhere,
to Eaton's or somewhere to buy your concert tickets. So this poster, because it is the ticket version, it's probably worth about $100. They should actually be worth more, the regular posters, but we had a lot left over. Likewise, this police picnic, that was my show as well. And there's a great story about this that I just have to share with you. So when we went out to book this was the one and only concert ever done in Oakville, big time. Once we did it, they've never allowed one since. This was the end of it.
That was fun, huh?
Yeah. So we went out to visit the head of the Ukrainian church, the priest, the top guy, and said, we're going to have the police picnic. And this was the kids' campground on Highway 5. He'd be more than happy to support the police, so he rented it to us. Well, then he find out it was a rock concert. He wanted us out. And we actually, they closed down Highway 5. It was like a little mini Woodstock. We had about 70,000 people there. The police were a major hit. We had to take the Go-Go's because apparently Sting was going out with Belinda Carlisle. We didn't want them. As it turns out, by the time the show happened, they were quite famous, so it was a good thing. But these posters, again, I've got a lot of them left from the show, but they're probably about a $100 poster. It's an early police poster, and it's quite collectible. And people find out that I was one of the people involved in this concert, and they all want this poster because it's such a joke about the priest renting the park. So it's very collectible, and they all have them up in their rec rooms. They go, oh yeah, that was our priest.
A niche market, you could say.
Exactly.
What about these things here?
These are all English pressings on these. Buzz the Beatles, I don't think they're early, but on these here, they're the picture covers. They're all from England. These are all Parlophone and are harder to get here. But in England, there's a lot of them there. The good thing about them, I took one out, and they're in really, really nice shape, condition. So you turn it on its side like this, and there's no scratches, no smudges, no beer marks. Yeah, so, but these will sell in between $5 and $20 each in today's market, mainly probably because of the dust jackets or the sleeve that's on them.
But you were right about the picture covers. These are probably worth $30, $40 each just because of the pictures.
Picture covers makes them
because many
better.
45s just came in a generic Capitol Records sleeve at the time. So if you've got the one with the picture of the band, there's substantial value.
Definitely a collector. Then we have these. What's killing some of those are original posters. No one ever dare reproduce them. But sometimes what happens is some of the iconic posters, they get repopped.
Well, we don't even know if it's repop, but it's been laminated, so it immediately is worth zero.
Yeah.
Lamination, anything you get laminated, rare tickets, photos, they're done. They're of no value. That's a very famous concert, the Transcontinental Pop Festival, and the movie was just found a few years ago and it was released. They had this great idea of a train to go across Canada, and it was going to be stopping at Montreal, I believe was the first stop. I'm not sure if they did Ottawa, Toronto. It was supposed to make it to Calgary. It never did. It got partway through, but they did do the Toronto shows, and the two main parties that were most famous, of course, was Janis Joplin and the Grateful Dead. And apparently the train was insane. I mean, there was more drugs than you could ever believe. And they had to stop in various cities to get liquor. They were clearing out liquor stores. And if you watch the movie, it's a great movie, and it's around. It's like you could probably get Netflix or something. And the posters, there's a couple of different colors, and there's posters from the various cities. Toronto's the most common because there was 2 days. But still, in that condition, I see there's somewhere in the corner. It's probably a $500 to $700 poster, and mint, it's probably worth $1,500. And that, of course, is from much earlier. That's from 1970.
Grateful Dead T-shirts from concerts from the 80s.
Those are amazing. So I always went to I've been to so many concerts, and I'd go to 200 a year if I could. And I always bought shirts and never wore them. And I'd take them home, and I'm always thinking, why am I so stupid? I'm paying $25 a shirt. And about 5-10 years ago, I decided in our business, we started putting them online. These shirts go for $200, $300, $400, sometimes $500. It's one of my better investments compared to everything else. And it was just, I just never wore them. I just brought them home, put them aside. Even worn, they're still worth money. But the more wear, the less they tend to be worth. You need to have the label clear so people can see that it is an original, because if the label's off it, all these shirts are knocked off. These particular ones, it depends on, you know, what year they're from. And
I saw 85 and 87.
yeah, so that's good.
70s
stuff for,
is like in a
they're
sock drawer
probably-
somewhere.
They're probably worth between $50 and $100 based on the condition.
Okay. When we come back, we'll discuss household items. That's next.
This will sell. This will be, someone will buy this as a prop. The same way they buy red telephones, something from the 40s, 50s. They're trying to reproduce the scenes. Something like this is what they're going to buy.
Welcome back. Sometimes the everyday items around your home can hold real value. And Paul, I'm really excited because this thing, we have a set of the exact one. It's taller. They're not in fabulous shape. And I will be quick to say they came with my husband. They're not from my family.
Okay. I was going to say, we've got two here. We've got this one and this one. Which one do you think is worth more?
Maybe that one.
Because this one's silver and this one's silver plate.
Right.
We get a lot of this in all the time. We buy silver plate, and most people don't want to clean it. The kids don't want to clean it. This one happens to be also on lead, okay? This one here, if I was selling this, $32. If I got 35, I'd be robbing somebody. As a pair, though, you might get 75 for a pair. You'll get more for a pair than you'll get for a single. On these here, but...
Even if it's kind of rubbed out, the plate is kind of...
No, that's tarnish.
Oh, okay.
You have to clean this.
No, we clean
Or
it,
your
but it
husband
doesn't
has to
all...
clean it.
No.
Somebody's got to clean it.
No, it gets clean, but some of the plate, I think, has come off.
Oh, then it's time to toss it. We take in the plate. We do not care if it's been monogrammed or anything like that. We take it in and we crush it. It does not last in my store more than a week.
Okay.
We send out 5,000 pounds. On this is 800 silver.
Wow.
This one here is going to be worth about $350.
Melted.
Yeah, it's not a chance of lasting, because this one here is an accident waiting to happen. You have to pay up your insurance. It's not weighted at the bottom correctly. And if you put candles on these, they burn down. This falls over, you burn down your house.
And it's ugly.
And it's ugly. Well, in some houses, this would not be out of place. Okay. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, enough
I say that tactfully? Okay.
Okay. The books.
The books. These are, again, we're going back to before we had TV, before we had radio, we had photographs. And people would save them. And they were cherished. And they would name them. And each one of these...
Wow.
This is your family. You want an instant family? Here it is. Now, one of these is from a famous family in Richmond Hill who built some observatory or something. These are just photographs of ordinary people. If they were doing something, riding a motorcycle, riding a bike, with certain toys or something that was more historical, they go for a lot more money. So this book, even though it's just regular people, this one's probably worth about $100.
It's pretty.
That would sell for, okay?
I'm looking at this. It's Bakelite. I used to have a collection of
Plastic?
Bakelite.
Okay.
Tell me about this.
Wow, what a great picture. No, this is really valuable. Okay, no, this is a makeup set. The lights, if the lights still work, this is probably 1940s, 50s after the war. This will sell with a mirror like this, and then the mirror that's non-distorted. This will sell for between $75 and $100 if I had it as a prop.
I think we have
we have the
owner.
people here.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm the people.
You're
Okay.
people.
Yes.
How did you come by this?
Garage sale.
Oh, okay.
It was in the driveway. It was on the grass. And we happened by and had a look at it. And it reminded me similar to something that my mother had.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much did you pay for it?
It's terrible. $1.
Okay, well, not a big. He's made a big return on his investment at $75.
And it actually
would
does
sell.
work. Those lights are operable.
Yeah, this will sell. This will be, someone will buy this as a prop. The same way they buy red telephones, something from the 40s, 50s. They're trying to reproduce the scenes. Something like this is what they're going to buy.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll take a look at some unique items brought in by the audience. That's next.
The Amazing Fantasy 15, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man.
That's $15,000. In nice shape, $1 million. But this, $1 million, this could be in someone's basement right now. Do not give these comic books to your grandkids to read.
Welcome back. We'll now take a look at some unique items brought in by our audience members. And Adam, you brought in those comics.
Yep. I collected these 1960s Marvel comics. They're first issues of the Avengers, first issue of The Amazing Spider-Man in the franchise, and The Amazing Fantasy 15, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man himself.
These ones here, this is an unslabbed. This is what we mean by uncertified. This is a raw comic, as you would get it, from the variety store. These are graded comics. This comic's graded at a 1.8. Okay. This comic here, The Amazing Fantasy 15, is the first Spider-Man. One recently sold for $1 million. It was in better condition than this one. This one here would be worth about $15,000. I want to show the audience a bit. That's $15,000. In nice shape, $1 million. And it's from 1962.
When did you get it? How much did you pay?
I just bought these more recently. I collected when I was a kid, and then as soon as I got into girls, comics
Yes,
went
so
up the door.
how much?
I paid thousands for them, but
Oh.
but it was something that I always wanted to collect since I was young, so it's on the bucket list.
And the Avengers is probably, in this condition, is probably worth $2,500, $3,000.
Yeah.
If it was graded like this, even the exact same comic book, it'll go up by $500 or $800, just because it's graded.
Just by getting graded, okay.
Okay? But this, $1 million, this could be in someone's basement right now, 1962. You mightn't have owned it, maybe your kids owned it, and your grandkids. Do not give these comic books to your grandkids to read. Okay? So we're going over here somewhere. That's $5 in comic books. It's a large stack. It's in perfect condition. It's a Japanese comic book that they made over here. It was collectible in the 1990s. Okay. Sorry about your luck on this one here.
We're going to the historic picture book. Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, how are
Good.
you?
I'm fine, thanks. This has been handed down in my family for generations. It's from 1894, was given to my ancestor from Stuart in 1894. The copyright is 1892. It is a pictorial history in pictures of the life of Christopher Columbus, and it's a poem. And
Okay. Now, this is probably the 400-year anniversary of Christopher Columbus discovering all of us over here. Okay. Now, on this here, this is one probably written for the World's Fair, or there was a lot of things came out when the 400-year anniversary of him discovering America. I would have to check. The colors are great, hand-colored and printing and everything like that. I'd actually have to. I've never seen this book before, 1894. What we're mainly looking for is, okay, wait a minute, I now know what it's worth. Approximately $80 US. So this might stay in your family
it's
for a while.
going to stay in the family for sure.
Now, what I want to impress, so it's the same time period of this, and even a little bit before, there are comic books. If this has been illustrated with little thought balloons over these men,
right?
This could be worth several thousands.
Oh, okay.
This happened to be made for as a souvenir. But if you had some from Harper's Bazaar, or any of those some of those magazines, and they're comics, they're called Victorian Age comics, and can be worth several thousands of dollars because people who collect comics are nuts. Sorry.
Okay. Paul.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have handcuffs over here.
I don't want to go near these things. I might end up. I'll try them on. You'll throw away the key.
You can try one on.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I don't trust you. Do I?
It's a key that has to lock it.
Oh, okay.
It won't lock automatically.
It won't lock automatically?
No.
Good thing.
Yes.
Okay. I have no idea. Were these made for slaves or are these made for the police?
The name on it is Froggatt, F-R-O-G-G-A-T-T.
Wow. I can imagine a lot of policemen would like to collect these. You sure they're not for slaves?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I don't know. What time period of these? When did you get them and when do you think they were made?
I bought them over 35 years ago at the Aberfoyle Flea Market.
Oh, out there. That's a nice that's a nice
is.
market out there. Okay.
But the story with it, like you always said, is I bought it from a vendor, and he told me he got it from an estate auction, and the estate auction was at a church minister's house.
Oh,
That was the interesting part of it. Yes.
I had a book where the church minister was tarred and feathered and ran out of town.
Yes.
But okay. On these are Froggatt. Did you guys find anything on these?
No, not yet. Similar time frame, but made as handcuffs. Not a whole lot of money, $60-ish. I'm just checking under manacles though, just in case.
I would think these would be a little bit better than that.
Yeah, well,
If it's because they're a little bit earlier, and if they were used for slaves and stuff, they would go for several hundreds of thousands,
Right.
several hundreds of dollars. But for the police, it'll be a little less. They're probably, if I have them in my store, I'd actually probably put $100, $150 on them because someone's going to want them, not going to find them somewhere else.
They're different.
And that's the thing. A lot of the other stuff that we have here, there are other. You go onto eBay and there's 95 of them. Then that establishes the price. You go onto eBay and you find one.
Right.
Well, then you get to start making up your own prices. Okay.
okay.
I would
Okay.
say $100. If I have me $100, $125, just because they're neat, and I'll never try them on again.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I
Thank
think
you.
next we have an unknown item.
Uh-oh. It's ivory. Can't cross the border. The other one's probably dead.
It belonged to an uncle of mine who traveled around the world in the late 30s, early 40s on bicycle.
It's used for measuring?
Well, I have no idea. I inherited it when he passed away, and all I know is he brought all kinds of trinkets and items back from his travels.
He didn't give you anything made out of gold, eh?
No.
No, okay, just checking. Okay. I don't.
Could it be?
Panel.
oh yeah, give me an hour or a day, good sir.
Could it be a game of some kind?
It's made out of ivory. I think this is ivory. The thread is an extra, better quality thread.
Could
Not-
that be some kind of sewing,
Sewing, that's-
weaving, something?
Yeah.
Back in
no, I
that
think he
time
risked
period, I'm
ivory
going
for
to take.
that.
There's no maker's mark on. It might have been something made like a hand. He made it himself. What would it be used for? Measuring? Okay, I'm going to give you $500,000 because you stumped the panel. Okay, and that's it.
Fabulous. That's why I
And you're
came.
and that's why you're getting your item back too. That's just for. I have no idea. But I'm going to take pictures and find out.
Even the consignment hero gets stumped sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, better luck next time. Next we have Patrick.
I collect vintage microphones. So, for instance, this is a vintage Neumann M49B. This is from 1962.
Who used it?
Who used it? It was from a very famous studio in the city. I bought it in a private sale, and they said once you buy it, it's a locked, kept secret of who's used it.
So that's not a very good story if I'm going to sell this, is it?
Yeah.
If I tell you I have to kill you type of thing? Okay. I'm going to try and look this up, but I'm going to say to Glenn, because we've had microphones, if you had a microphone used by Bill Hewitt, if you had a microphone that was used by a very famous radio announcer, on something like that, there's a story, and there's going to be people collect that. That was Bill Hewitt's, and out of Maple Leaf Gardens,
Well,
5,000?
I've got the public address microphone from Montreal Forum, and it's probably worth about $4,000 or $5,000. But I don't think it's a very expensive microphone. It probably
Right.
dates to the '60s.
Right.
They obviously, when they closed the forum, they let it go. I bought it in auction. It was actually presented to the longtime announcer, and their family sold it. We got it off of them. So there is the value of people that used it, and then there's the value of just how rare the microphone is.
And there's a value of it still being used, as in like this is still used all the time. So
Because they want a
it's
certain
actually-
sound from it, like
Exactly.
an artist or
How
whatever.
much did you pay for it, Patrick?
I bought it $8,000 3 years ago, and as of today, it's valued at $16,000 US.
Wow.
Yeah, 8,000 Canadian.
Now
I bought
you
it
know
for.
who used it.
I know where it came from, and it's
So did rock stars potentially use it?
Oh, of course,
there?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's always worth more.
I would
Why
s-
do they want to keep it a secret?
The studio owner wanted to cut ties with everything that they wanted to do, or all their whole history, everything like that. They wanted to just leave the business, and they said, if you buy this stuff, the stories don't stick with it. Yeah. Yeah, because they wanted the people who bought it to keep it. To keep the equipment.
You know,
A mystery. Thank you. When we come back, final thoughts from our panelists. That's next.
Don't forget, for free tickets to the show, go to www.universe.com and search Zoomer Media and log on to www.thezoomertv.com for full episodes and more.
Welcome back to the Zoomer. It's now time for final thoughts from our panelists, starting to my left.
Final thought is, when you have things you don't know the value of, bring them to an expert. Sometimes we don't have an answer for you instantly, but we'll find one for you.
As Paul and the other experts keep saying, is that catalog everything. If you have a story behind it, any family members, names, dates, add it. It adds to the story and it'll help the value, if not the research behind the product.
History should never be forgotten, period.
In terms of downsizing, one thing that a lot of people forget, and we've dealt with some of Canada's wealthiest families, a lot of times they might have one particular item, they've got 3 kids, and they're gonna fight over it, and that's the last thing parents want, or their kids fighting when they're gone. Money's easy to split, so it's sold all the time because they know all 3 of them want Dad's Stanley Cup ring or something else, so a lot of times they're sold for that reason.
I'm glad this is what I do. If you have any of this stuff at home, especially this one here, if you have any of this stuff at home, I can help you sell it. Everything you've seen today, I can help you sell, or I can put you in touch with these gentlemen here.
Okay. Remember the old adage, one person's trash is another's treasure. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you soon. It's time to zoom out.